Hi friends, this video is going to be on goal setting, and I know you're probably like, okay, calm down, November just came, so relax. I have 2 months left in the year, so let me live my best life. And I totally get it. I get it. But for me, I think you can start any goal at any time, and the sooner the better. I found that when I used to put off goals and say I'll start them in January, or I'll start them on Monday or next month, I found that I would never actually follow through with them. It was a nice thought and I felt very pumped about it in the beginning when I thought of it, but then I never actually followed through because, Monday came and went, or the next month started and I was like, or January would come, I'd be all excited to do it, but I never actually followed through on the goals. On my quest for successful goal setting, I have learned the biggest lesson, which is if you don't plan it out, you most likely won't achieve it. So here are the 4 main things that have actually helped me when it comes to setting up myself for success to achieve my goals, no matter how big or small the goal is. So first thing is the type of goal you choose for yourself. I think at times we have these grand ideas about these goals that, like, for example, I want a 6-pack in the next 3 months. That's really hard to do. Or I want to have my own business by the end of the year. Or by the end of this year, I want to make 6 figures. And not to say that these goals aren't achievable, but for someone like me, for example, who doesn't have a good track record on following through on my goals, it would be really tough to pick one of those goals and actually following through on it. So sitting down and actually writing it all out is really important. Trying to understand what you already have going on in your life. Like, do you have kids? That requires a lot of time and attention. Do you have someone that depends on you for primary care? Do you have a full-time job? Are you in school full-time? Those are all things that you need to take into consideration before selecting your goals. Just because you have something else in your life, like a full-time job or children, you should not pick big goals like starting your own business. Of course you can, but you just need to first sit down and understand what you can put into it. What do you have capacity for in your life in order to put towards your life, but also achieving your goal? Because if you don't set realistic goals with realistic expectations and realistic timelines, you're basically setting yourself up for failure. Like someone like me, for example, when I wouldn't achieve my goals, I would feel so bad about myself and I would feel like I'm not good enough and I'm not capable. When in fact, I just wasn't setting myself up for success when it came to my goal planning. So really understanding what capacity you have in your life in order to make time for your goals to achieve them. So writing that out and understanding that, and then choosing your goals is step number 1 and super important. Which leads me to the second thing that has helped me when it comes to goal setting, and that is writing down your goal. And writing down your goal means being as specific as possible with your goal, putting in as much detail as you can. So for example, just a high level example, let's say by the end of this year, so in the next 2 months, by December 31st, I want to read 3 books. So your goal should be written out as an action. So let's say by December 31st, I want to finish reading book A, book B, book C. That is your goal. This way you have a clear plan with a timeline of when you're going to complete that by. You have your books listed that you're going to read, and you have a clear timeline of when you're going to complete reading those books by. So really important to write down your goal, be as specific as possible, and write it as an action. The third thing is writing out an action plan. So what actions will I take in order to achieve my goal? So keeping with the reading the 3 books in the next 2 months, I want to break down my action plan and I need to be as specific as possible. So let's say we start like this. First thing in my action plan is book 1. Let's say I will read the book Born a Crime and I will read 20 pages per day. The book is like 280 something pages. So I will be done the book in 15 days. And that is action plan number 1 for the first book. And you do the same thing for the next book and then the next book. This gives you a clear picture of what you need to do on a daily basis in order to get closer and closer to achieving your goal. It also alleviates some pressure because it's broken out in a timeline that you feel comfortable with and you believe that you can achieve. Yes, sometimes life gets in the way and you can always adjust your goal accordingly, but this really helps you understand what you need to do broken out to the finest detail, like reading 20 pages per day in order to finish the book by a certain time, really helps you understand like this is what I need to do every day or every week, whatever your goal is, to achieve my goal by this date. The fourth thing that has really helped me when it comes to goal setting and keeping on top of my goals is reviewing my goals and my action plans regularly. By not doing this, yes, you'll remember the goal, but you'll forget what the actions are, what the steps are that you set up in order to achieve your goal. So I like to review my goals once a week because it really helps me understand what I need to do, what my goal is, and what the action plan is for that goal. I find that this also helps me understand if I need to tweak something, like the timeline. Let's say, something big is going on at work and I've been working longer hours and I don't have as much time to put into my goal right now. Let's say I have half the time I thought I would. I can tweak my goal at that point accordingly to make it more sustainable for what's going on in my life and what capacity I have for it at that moment. This is great because you're still working towards your goal. That's better than just kind of letting the goal slide and not following through on it. So really reviewing my goals helps me understand, am I still on track? Do I need to change anything? And this also helps me see my progress. Just by reviewing my action plans and my goals, it helps me understand how I'm tracking to my timeline and see my progress, which is always a pretty cool thing, especially when you see that you're starting to go through that action plan and get closer and closer to your timeline and achieving your goal. Now, you can have the best written out action plan and the best goals, but if you don't put in the work and show up for yourself every day, it doesn't matter. You gotta put in the time, you gotta understand what you have capacity for, you gotta understand what your timeline is, you gotta understand what the goal is, write it out specifically, write out an action plan that you can stick to, and then review it regularly. I found that those things really helped me and really helped me stay on track when it comes to achieving my goal. Now, I'm not saying that this is a perfect system and like I'm perfect at writing out my goals and sticking with them. I'm not, but I'm getting better and better at it. And it's not perfect, but who wants perfection anyways? Perfection can be pretty exhausting, so I'm good. Growth and development for me works much better. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little different, but this is something that has really helped me. And with us being 2 months away from the end of the year, I thought, let me share this with you guys. If it helped me, maybe it can help somebody else out there. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything that you guys do to set yourself up for success when it comes to goal setting. I would love to hear it. Something that's worked really well for you or works really well for you. Let me know if there's any other videos you'd like me to make, if there's products you'd like me to review. I love hearing from you. Thank you for taking the time out and watching this video. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time.